guys, it's Star the Flippin' Hippo. Thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel, Flippin' Hippos. Today's just going to be like a short and fun video about how I make up stories about our buyers and also items I find in the wild. So on our What Sold video this week, I mentioned I had sold 2 Inesco bears, and I said, you know, I was imagining it was for a new father, and I kind of made the comment, I like to make up stories about my buyers. And I had some really good feedback. I had a couple comments on the video, and then in social media I had some private messages sent to me from some of the viewers who just thought that was so cool because they did it too, and it was nice to know that they weren't alone in their eccentricness. Eccentricness. I was gonna say craziness, but that's kind of rude. But you know, I do it too, so hey, maybe I'm crazy. So I decided I was just gonna do a little short video just to like elaborate on that. So I am a writer, and I used to write for a living, and I read a lot. I'm an avid reader. I have a very, very vivid and active imagination. I was also an only child growing up, and so I had a lot of imaginary friends. So I can't ever do anything in life without creating a story. If I'm out people watching, and yes, I do people watch, I will admit it. You do it too. I know you do. I just kind of like will watch a person. Say I'm at the mall and I'm sitting on a bench and I'm people watching. I'll watch someone and I will make up an entire character for a book or a whole story about this person, who they are, where they've been, what they're doing. And they're not always, you know, fairy tale nice endings. I have seen people in my travels in life where I imagine that they go home and have people in the basement that they're killing and they're serial killers. And then I imagine some people have these fantastic lives. I don't know. So I'm just really weird. So I just wanted to like give you guys like two or three examples of the times I've made up stories where Keith was just like, he was laughing so hard, and he's like, I cannot stand you and how you make up your stories. So one time at the Benz, there were a whole row. There's 4 in each row of the Benz, back to back like this. This side's clothes, this side's hard goods. So this one time at the Benz, this whole row, all 4 bins of hard goods were full of frogs. We're talking ceramic frogs, plush frogs, frog cups, you name it. If it had a frog on it, it was in there. And I'm digging through, and I actually found a frog out of that. He was a bank, a piggy bank, and he was on a rocking chair. He was really cute. He went for like $18. But as I was digging through all these frogs, I kind of got sad, and I made up this whole story about this person as I was going through their items, because I imagined that one person donated all these frogs, right? Because it had to be somebody's collection that came through. And there were frogs about graduating high school and graduating college and having kids and getting married. And I just like created this entire person in my mind. And in my head, in the story, followed her through her life and her love of frogs from childhood on. And she graduated, you know, high school, and she got married and she had kids. And then she got ill and she went to a home and she died. And then her family, they got her estate, donated all her frogs to the Goodwill. And I like created a whole person. And so on the way home from the Benz that night, I told Keith my story about her. And like another time at the Benz, there were like 5 or 6 bins full of Eeyore stuff. I mean, it was score for us, definitely. We grabbed all the Eeyore stuff and brought it home. We may even have a couple things left from that trip, but it's all profit now. Like the first 2 Eeyores that sold paid for the whole trip. But I made another story up that time about someone, they died too. I don't know why, but whenever I see like a huge collection, like just a lot of one thing, I always immediately invent a story where it came from an estate where someone had passed on, and this was their entire life, all of everything they ever loved, their whole collection that was just donated because nobody else wanted it. And It's like I don't know why my stories always have to be sad. Um, I also invent stories for my buyers, like I said. So when I have multiple orders come through, I invent a person and I give them a life. We had one buyer one time who actually bought $250 worth of stuff, just her. In one night, she bought all this stuff, and a lot of her stuff was like junior sized girls' clothing, and then some little boys' Spider-Man stuff. And so I created this woman in my mind, and she was sending us messages, and she was real nice. She was like, bless you, because we were accepting her best offers. And I just like created her as like this hardworking single mother, and for some reason she was a nurse. And her youngest son loved Spider-Man, and so she bought us out of all of our Spider-Man stuff. And she had a young daughter in high school who was fashionable that she was buying clothes for. And then I also invent stories on our returns. And those aren't always the nicest or most flattering. I guess the example I could use here, we had a buyer who bought a shirt and a pair of jeans, and we sent both in a padded flat to her together, and then we got a message probably like within hours of her getting it. I think I checked the tracking and it had just arrived. And she said the envelope they came in was torn open and they were covered in oil. And I wrote her back, you know, and did the whole, I'm sorry that your items arrived damaged. Perhaps in shipping, the packaging was damaged and the mail delivery guy dropped it or something. And I told her if she was not happy, she could return it. And she said, no, I just like want a partial refund or a replacement. And I'm like, oh, here we go. This person is just digging and fishing for a partial. So I was like sitting at the desk and I'm like, Keith, this woman bought this shirt and these jeans and they fit great and she likes them, but she's having remorse about the money she spent. So she sat down and decided, how can I get some money back? And I like just invented this whole person and this whole persona for her, and like what would bring her to come up to the lie of the ripped envelope and the oil stains. At the end of the day, she opened a return, and we also asked her for pictures. We were nice about it. I mean, I told her, I'm going to take the return and you're going to get your money back. I said, unfortunately, company policy is that we can't give partials, but if you want to return the items, we will absolutely refund you. And then it was like, but could you also please send us a picture of the packaging and the items so we can see the packaging being torn and the damage and the oil on the clothes, so we can file a case with the post office and get our insurance back on these items. And guess what? She didn't have a camera. In 2018, this woman said she didn't have a smartphone and she didn't know anybody else in the whole entire world who had a phone. Her phone, I think she said her phone was broken and she was waiting for her replacement or something. But it was just like, okay, come on. You don't have the ability in 2018 to get a picture. I think that was what first set my alarm bells off on her, and then I just started creating a story. So she opened the return, we accepted it, she never sent it back, and when it came to the point where it was past the due date that eBay asked that they send it, I just called eBay and asked them to close it, and they did. We've never heard anything else since, so I hope that she eventually got a new phone and joined us in 2018, where we all have phones with cameras on them. And she's enjoying her oil-covered clothes. So, yeah, I just wanted to do like a little short video just to let you guys in on some of my weirdness, I guess. Some of the things I think about. Alright, you guys, do you ever make up stories about your buyers or about the items that you find? Tell me your stories down below in the comments. And go ahead and like this video if you would. I'd appreciate it. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to our channel and help us feed a hungry hippo. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We are at Flippin' Hippos. Until next time, you guys have a good night.